キケ・ヘルナンデス選手がドジャースと1年で再契約することが決まり、インスタグラムでも開かれたドアを通り抜けるとのコメント付きで発表されていました。ドジャースネーションの番組でもキケの再契約を待ち望んでいた DMAC ことダグマケイン氏が喜びの言葉を表していました。
Kiké Hernandez re-signed with the Dodgers is my Super Bowl, and Kiké took to his own Instagram to announce the news. And he put up this awesome hype video that's been circulating with Kendrick Lamar's TV off. It's perfectly synced up, a great hype video where it has Kiké's quote that he told Ken Rosenthal after Game 5 of the NLDS when he was asked what's different about this team. And Kiké said, "Are we live? It's the fact that we don't give a F." And it had this hype video, and then you scroll to the right, and it's Kiké and his middle finger with the 2020 World Series championship ring, and it's beautiful. It says, "Walking through the open door, hashtag 26 man." It's this picture right here, Kiké's middle finger. So clearly, he still does not give an F. And now the Dodgers roster is essentially set at this point. You have Kiké Hernandez back, and yes, you will have to make a corresponding move to the 40-man roster, but this also coincides with the start of when pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Tomorrow at Camelback Ranch in Arizona, things will be official, and right when the beginning of training camp starts, that's when you can start to use that 60-day IL, and you can pick any number of names that the Dodgers can move, whether it be a Gavin Stone, whether it be a River Ryan, whether it be a Brusdar Graterol. We'll see if Clayton Kershaw gets a deal done. He gets transferred to the 60-day IL. So there are tons of moves that they can make to free up a roster spot. The other big question is, what do you do with him on the 26-man? And the interesting competition there is going to be, what does this mean for Chris Taylor, for Andy Pages, for Hae-Sung Kim? I think it comes down to Hae-Sung Kim, who can start the season at the minor league level. They'll look at how well his bat translates early on in the season, but they have him signed to a multi-year contract, so they don't need him in year one necessarily. If everything works out and he gets an opportunity and runs with it, then so be it. But then there's also Andy Pages, and Andy Pages has options as well. He could start the year down at the minor league level. But if you've been watching the show all off season, if you looked at my power rankings, my number one was Blake Snell. My number two was Teoscar Hernandez. And then we started to talk about guys like Kiké Hernandez. And I've told you all offseason, everything I've heard was that it was just a matter of time that they would get this deal done right before spring training, right before pitchers and catchers were set to report. And that was the word that was out there, right? I mean, Kiké Hernandez was not going to sign with another team. The Dodgers know what he brings to this clubhouse. They know what he brings to this dugout. They know what he brings to this team from a talent perspective. And look, you're probably saying, man, why is DMAC freaking out about a guy that's not this all-star? Why he's not this future Hall of Famer, right? Sure, he isn't. I mean, you look at his career numbers, 11 major league seasons for the Banana Man, and he's a .238 hitter with a .308 on base, a .405 slugging percentage, 120 home runs, 192 doubles, and he's 7% below league average, a 93 weighted runs created plus throughout his career at the plate. But it's the versatility one. He started center field. He started shortstop, third base, left field, right field, first base. He's pitched. This guy has done it all. And you look at last season, he filled in for Max Muncy. He started 60 games at third base, but it wasn't just that. He played shortstop, second base, first base, left field, and center field. And we're not talking about an inning here, an inning there, a couple games here. He played at least 6 games at each of those positions last season. And you look at his numbers as a whole last year, they're not overly impressive. They don't pop off the page. 229 batting average, 281 on base, 373 slug, was 17% below league average with 83 weighted runs created plus, but you guys know I love numbers, but they don't always tell the full story because that is for his whole season. But you guys know what he did at the All-Star break. He had astigmatism in his eye. He saw an optometrist. They gave him special glasses for his right eye. And after the All-Star break, Kiké, he took that batting average that was at 229 and it was at 274. The on base went up to 307 and the slug went from 373 to 458, and he went from 17% below league average before the All-Star break, before the goggles, before the glasses, to 12% above league average. So he ends up with a 112 weighted runs created plus after the All-Star break. We're talking about almost 3 months of action. And then the number one reason why you re-sign Kiké Hernandez, the number one reason why he is worth his weight in gold is because he turns into an all-star in the postseason. He's not an all-star in the regular season. In the postseason, he is nails. He is an absolute dog, and the numbers back it up. This year in the postseason, didn't even really start first couple of games against the Padres. Then Miguel Rojas suffered the injury. Tommy Evan moved to shortstop. Kiké Hernandez took over in center field, and then this team took off. He hit almost 300. He hit 294, 357 on base, a 451 slug, had a 129 weighted runs created plus. And it wasn't just, okay, the overall offensive production, it was what he brought in big moments. Game 5, NLDS. Yu Darvish had his way with the Dodgers. Early in that series, he was having his way with the Dodgers in Game 5. There was tension at Dodger Stadium. You could cut that tension with a knife. It was scary season. It looked like, oh no, the Dodgers might lose again to an NL West foe, and we're going to have to hear about them choking, having this big roster that they just don't make the most of it. Maybe Dave Roberts on the hot seat, all these things. And then Kiké's the guy, first pitch, boom, hits a bomb and gives the Dodgers an early lead in that one. And Teoscar hit another home run. The other Hernandez did later, and they end up winning that game behind some fantastic pitching. But it was the moments. Game 3 of the NLCS against the Mets gets a big hit. Game 5 of the series against the Yankees, he's the guy that sparked the rally that led to the 5-run comeback. The Aaron Judge dropping the ball, it's because he saw Kiké Hernandez out of the corner of his eye. When he was rounding second and going into third, he's the guy that blocked Volpe's vision to get the ball to Jazz Chisholm that led to the errant throw. There's things that Kiké does that don't show up on box scores. This guy's an absolute winner. I've dubbed him the Dodgers version of Derek Fisher just because he's not this all-star Hall of Famer. But in the postseason, these are the kinds of players you need. These are the kind of guys that step up in big spots. They're not afraid of the big moment. They also keep things light, right? I mean, you kind of take some attention away from Shohei and Mookie and Freddie and the pressure that was on those guys because of the comments he made to Ken Rosenthal, where he almost got fined, almost got suspended for that. His teammates love him. You ask any of these guys who's the funniest guy on the team, they don't let you finish your sentence before they say Kiké Hernandez. So last season, he was great in the postseason. Throughout his career in the postseason, a 134 weighted runs created plus. He's at 278, 15 home runs in 86 games. I told you on Thursday's show that Kiké is actually tied with Babe Ruth for postseason home runs with 15. He's 20th all time. And yes, that is a lot less at bats in games for Babe Ruth. Of course, he didn't have the extended series. It was very different back then, but I still think it's pretty cool. I'd be telling people that. It'd be my fun fact about me at a party if I were Kiké Hernandez. So, I mean, he's tied for 5th all-time in postseason home runs. I mean, this is that guy. So, look, he brings versatility. He's clutch. Great in the clubhouse. Fans love him. It was a no-brainer. And this is interesting, too. This is the 4th time the Dodgers have acquired him.
It's Brittany, bitch. And I am back.
ドジャースファン誰もが期待していたキケとの再契約。待ち望んでいた DMAC からもその喜びが伝わってきました。おっしゃっていた通り数字やスコア表だけでは表せないプレイヤーとしての能力とその人間性。特にポストシーズンではキケは欠かせない存在でした。また今シーズンもそのクラッチとムードメーカーとしても見られることを楽しみにしています。